Oh, it's Ready Player One, it's Ready Player One, it's Ready Player One with special guests Jim and Joe. Right, enough with the fucking greetings. Let's get down to brass tacks. Welcome back to Hurd Ya Saw. I'm joined today by the full crew. Actually, full crew. Well done. Plus Jim.
Minus Shay.
Oh, yeah, no, Shay. Oh, I'm sorry, Shay. When you listen to this, you're going to be heartbroken that I forgot you exist. No, you'll never be Shay. Come on, man. So, you may notice that I'm striking a somewhat serious tone because we saw a serious movie for serious people. Today's episode is about Ready Player One. Can I just first, before we go into our one-line hot takes, can I just get a general, as we have done in the past, a noise to communicate your mood on 3? 1, 2, 3. You know what? There was a lot of subtle noise to that, which I'm not sure the microphone's actually going to pick up. That is more breathing a heavy-ish sigh.
Tumbleweed.
Just rolling down the dales. Anyway, our one-line hot takes are as usual. Please sum up your thoughts on the film as a whole in one line. Jim, as the guest on the show, would you like to begin with your one-line hot take?
Well, it didn't include the paragraph on masturbation, so it was better than the book.
Amazing. Racy.
It's bad enough that they had to explain the jokes.
I have so much to say about some of the writing of the dialogue in this movie. It's quite the thing. We are joined, of course, by the bonus Jonas, making a... Wait, you've not been on a... Is this your debut?
No,
Oh, you Baby Driver.
I thought everybody was in Baby Driver, weren't they?
Yeah. I think I came to the film, but I didn't do it.
Oh, yeah, you didn't stick around. Yeah, so
we
Joe...
had to not spoil it for you, and then you never listened to it.
In that case, fabulous newcomer Joe, welcome to the show. Would you like to give your one-line hot take?
Okay. Going off what you just said, bad enough that they had to explain some very simple plot points.
Yes. Also that. Morton.
I didn't think I could be more bored than when I was reading the book.
Oh, no.
Why did you recommend the book to me?
This is what?
To share the pain.
What you can't capture on the audio of this is just there's this lack of light in Morton's eyes.
That's never there.
Oh, I feel like something's been left you. EJ.
Yeah, Sean, you don't get to
No,
say.
Sean gets to round us out.
Oh, I'm playing for the pressure.
It was barely worth it to see Morton's old road.
But we did see it. We saw your old road.
We did. And within 30 seconds, none of you realised this, I then saw when I used to work.
Really?
In Digbeth.
Oh.
So I was like, how have they got from Tottenham to Digbeth in 30 seconds?
Which was also in
Birmingham.
Columbia is where Ohio.
Columbus,
Columbus, Ohio. Okay, Sean.
Because they're adventurous.
Sean, what was you? You like seemed slightly more jazzed when I met you outside than
Yeah,
perhaps
I was
anyone
probably
else.
still high off the Easter egg I got from yesterday.
Easter egg.
No, literally.
Yes.
Oh, and it is actually a season. Oh god, it's a seasonal tie-in. Fuck me.
When they released it this weekend?
Oh, I bet.
Don't give them the credit.
I mean, Peter Rabbit's still
you did try to
screaming.
tie Pacific Rim Uprising with Easter last time.
It's valid though. It's more valid than this.
This movie. Sean, your one-line hot take, please.
So many references
There
that I lost count. I actually tried to count. I gave up after 5 minutes.
So EJ, my one-line hot take. Fuck this movie. That's about where I am. Just generally, I mean, that's going to peak the fuck out of the audio, but EJ has this tradition. Would you like to try and recount we can do it as a team. We can do it as a team.
I'll do it. I've read the book too, so I'm like kind of like mixed up because the book is barely in the movie, which is a good thing because the book was fucking terrible.
Just as a quick, say vocally, don't raise hands. Who here has read the book?
Yes.
Me.
So Jim, Morton, and EJ have all read the book. Jolly good. Okay, cool. So you'll be giving us the informed perspective, whereas I just get to bitch about it being a crap movie on its own merits.
Yeah,
Huzzah!
it's a crap book too.
But yes, the plot.
So it's like 2045.
Yes.
There's a straight white male living in Ohio.
Yes.
Glorious Ohio.
In a
Has
trailer.
anyone else been?
I hear it's
it's-
flat.
It
Looks
is.
a lot like
It's-
Birmingham and London.
Yeah, it is the Ready Player One of states.
Oh! Am I now going to have add enemy of the show, the state of Ohio?
I actually don't mind Ohio. It's fine.
Okay.
They've got a lot of corn. So this kid lives in the stacks, which are just trailers piled up on each other.
Played
and-
by Miles Teller?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Some
No.
dickhead. He was just
Ty-
some random
Ty
kid.
Sheridan.
Wait, that wasn't Miles Taylor?
No.
I spent the whole movie thinking, God, his career's gone downhill.
No,
So is his
it was
age
just...
if it was him.
He looked like, I swear, like he
No,
looked, that was
he's
Mr.
just-
Fantastic.
He's
Hold
like
on.
he's some schmuck who's just looking like Miles Teller.
What else was he in?
Doesn't like
I-
He's in X-Men Apocalypse. He's Cyclops.
Oh
Yeah.
God, he's new
What?
Cyclops, isn't he?
Granted, I did have to Google who he was. Though.
He did something else as
I've
well, but I can't
seen
think.
that
So,
film, and
yeah.
I've never seen this kid in my life.
I mean, it's good casting because he's clearly just like some sort of John Everyman.
I
Yeah.
really felt I identified with him. Ah,
He had
continue.
Zero charisma. Okay, we'll get
Ty
there.
Yeah,
Sheridan is his
All right.
Ty,
So-
well done. Wait, no, who was it who
wait.
said Ty Sheridan? Sure, sorry, I thought Joe. yeah.
Not even close.
Yay!
Literally opposite sides of the table.
Okay, plot. There's a immersive video game called The Oasis, which is a virtual reality thing, and everyone in the world, which is really only limited to the United States in this movie, and then
And Columbus.
yeah, I mean it's
That's
pretty-
just where they're from, where the creators are from.
yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, they
Home of gregarious games.
gregarious.
Gregarious
Yeah.
games.
So
yes.
there's a guy who's basically the Steve Jobs of this world who created the Oasis and dies Willy Wonka style, leaving a like
Did Willy Wonka die?
no, it's darker than the chocolate factory. But it's the same concept. He's trying to leave his thing to
He
like
is, yes.
the chosen kid. So he sets a series of tasks that are 3 keys, and you have to solve 80s themed puzzles, and it's all everyone's just competing and stuff. But of course, there's an evil corporation who's trying to come in and monetize with ads, and that's like kind of the only thing that they really talk about. And you're kind of like, okay, that's shit, but also like,
They mentioned the membership tiers kind of.
yeah.
In the flashback,
Subtly.
he's all like, "Oh, we should have gold and platinum, but also water, cause it's an oasis." And I'm like, I mean, yeah, progression systems are a thing in video games, but
Yeah,
That's-
I didn't give a fuck
I-
about the stakes at all.
so basically, the guy wins, he gets the thing, and no one cares.
Wait, you skipped to the end.
I don't care. I'm
Okay,
just like,
there's a white girl and they fall in love immediately.
oh yeah.
And then
The fact that this movie took place over like a day, like about 2 days, I'm just like, boy, I'm in love with you. I'm like, fuck you.
They're
You don't.
young.
You. Oh, they're not that
It
young.
ends with like, oh, I'm not going to make Halliday's mistake. I'm going to take the leap. It's like, you have been taking the leap at literally every opportunity. First time you met her, you throw yourself on
You
her.
get a forced romantic plot, and everyone gets a forced romantic plot.
It was uncomfortable with the 11-year-old.
Oh.
oh, they kill him in the book.
Yeah.
Kill the other one.
Oh.
Well, Daito is supposed to be a
Hikikomori.
yeah,
Like a
and
shot.
he gets thrown out the window
I thought he
by
gets killed off
IOI.
screen.
Yeah, well, like you're not there, but like the IOI go
Yeah,
there and
yeah,
literally throw
Oh
him out the
yeah,
window.
yeah. He's like killed off screen in book form.
I'm curious what film you were watching, considering I was joking about the 11-year-old's romantic subplot, and you're all just like, oh yeah.
Wait,
Sorry.
what?
Well, I was thinking, okay.
No.
Yeah.
I thought your
No,
issue was that he
referencing
was
the
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck that kid. Be like, yes, I am 11. That's my sole character trait. I'm like, A+ writing. Look at that believable character.
They really
Alright.
turned that writing up to 11.
Oh, I hate you. I hate. Oh.
Did the author have any hand in writing the screenplay? Because
He
it
tried
feels
in
got a
like
earnest.
credit. He got a credit.
Yeah, he did try in earnest.
Yeah.
So-
Stop! This is bad. This is painful enough already.
Because it's called Ernest.
yes.
Ernst-
Okay, thank
Ernst
you.
Stein.
That was his.
That's like the jokes in the film.
Yeah.
Jokes in
Klein
this
is German
movie.
for small.
Oh, so, I this could fully just be me ranting for like an hour, like by
Okay.
myself. Like you could all leave, and this would not impede the length of the
Can
podcast.
I give my final review?
No. But I mean, I don't want the cast to be that. So, like, what did people think of this film, Jim, as the guest? Oh, well, the primary guest, Joe.
I count.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I
It was really confusing because, I mean, having read the book, I have opinions about the book, and in many ways the film improved it just by omitting things that didn't need to be there. The fact that he buys a sex doll in the book, and the fact that and there's the fact that he
The child buys it sex.
No,
the main character buys a sex doll.
Who's still a
teenager.
child?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also
How old is he meant to be?
20s?
What? Oh, it's
No,
not
he's
really-
like
He's
14
born
or
in
15 or something.
2027.
Yeah, no, 2027.
12th of
18.
August.
Okay, he's 18. That makes sense.
Yeah, 12th of August 2027.
Good memory.
Thank you.
Did you make it through this whole movie without falling asleep?
I did!
Oh! Well done, Racy. The streak is over.
Like, I was waiting for
poor
the
thing.
Iron Giant. I really liked that movie, and he ruined it.
Watch The Iron Giant instead of seeing this movie.
Oh yeah, that's
I
a
would've
strong
preferred-
recommendation. Sorry, Jim. Please continue.
Well, I mean, there's other issues I could point out with the book. That there's a vaguely transphobic comment. What? No, it's not vague. It's quite overtly transphobic, which wasn't in the film. Just by cutting stuff for time, the story improved because the whole passage about how masturbation is the secret to humanity's success. What the fuck are you talking
I
about?
don't remember that.
That's the thing. Whenever I bring these things up, people are like, "Wait, really?" It's like, yes, it's in the book, but people, it's like, it just because the book just sort of like throws a bunch of stuff at you. People don't remember it.
Yeah.
And also the fact that like in the book, Artemis is kind of a bit of a trophy because I mean she does have some agency and it's kind of irritating that in some ways she is better at gunting than the main character. So why isn't she the protagonist?
The thing is, for me, can I just say real quick, I couldn't take the term gunter seriously.
No, you can never do it.
Because when I was younger, there was a common phrase that when you have a really fat person who has like that fold between their stomach and their genitals, you call that a gunt. So they were like, we've got to gunt our way to victory. And I'm just like, this did not work at all. So now you all have that to
Thank
ruminate
you for that
on.
image.
To round up my point is that at the same time, whilst the film like improved on certain things by omitting them, also by omitting like some things that weren't good in the book but made it worse by not having them. For instance, the book tried to be inclusive by having H turn out to be a lesbian woman of colour who presents differently in the game. It's kind of not great in the book because it's only really presented from Wade's perspective and how that affects him, even though that issue is way more interesting than anything he's got going on. But in the book, in the film rather, they don't even have that conversation. And that's worse. The fact that you take this thing and say, oh, we're even less interested in it now. And
We've got to smooth down the edges somewhat.
yeah, and it all like. I mean, the book was pretty vapid, and the film, in some ways, made it like. In some ways, it was kind of nice that Artemis and Wade's conversation when she tells him his name. I was actually, this is handled better than in the book. This is kind of interesting. And then they meet earlier. It's like, actually, maybe their relationship will have some development, even because of the book they don't meet until the very end.
What?
Yeah,
What?
she's meeting her as the prize.
Oh, in real life?
Yeah.
Okay, I
real
thought you
life.
meant just like the characters interacting.
No.
I'm like, what the fuck is the
Like,
book?
The whole thing is about like, if I meet her in real life, will I like her as much as and yeah, that might have been interesting, but it wasn't handled in an interesting way at all. And it seemed like she wasn't a member of some sort of resistance, which is probably why it never gets mentioned again.
But she said, welcome to the rebellion
Yeah,
when they meet, and then it's like, it's me
that's-
and some dude who buys his
Yeah.
groceries.
Yeah.
We live in
About
tents.
Never mentioned again.
Yeah.
Never, no.
Yeah,
Tents in a building.
Yes.
Tents inside a building.
With a garden on the roof.
Yeah.
Well,
So from that point
London.
forward, it does take a big sort of departure from the book, and in some ways, it's actually way more inventive. Like just the idea of the fact that he's in the game, but also the truck is moving, and so that influences how he's playing in there. That's not in the book, and that's this is actually really interesting. But then so much of it was just like, wait, this is all over the place. Like, all of a sudden, like, just, now these people are here now, and now they're gone. We have to rocket through all this stuff, and it doesn't really make much sense anymore.
Joe,
Mm-hmm.
what did y'all think of Ready Player One?
That was uncomfortable.
I'm trying to present a positive attitude.
Why?
Yeah. It was okay is my kind of describe a word.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it like apparently you guys all did.
Welcome to the
Leave.
We're allowed to like different
I
things.
feel like I didn't like how they had to, like it was so obvious that this H character was a female because of the over-explaining of what if you meet her and she turns out to be a 30-year-old man in a basement or whatever. That was over-explained and therefore obvious. I thought that was going to become a love interest for him, and then he'd have to choose between the two girls or something. But no, that didn't happen. And then the over-explaining of the final, and we're in his fake office.
Oh my,
and
that
not his
bit
real
was like,
office.
it's like, oh, it's
Does that
very
mean
clear
this?
what has happened. Let me now explain what it has happened. Hold on, H, I need to explain again. He doesn't see. Look, here is a monitor displaying what he's seeing, and here is what we see. Do you see what? It's like, I know this is a film for children, kind of, maybe. They say
I
fuck.
don't know.
Yeah, they say
it's
fuck,
for-
but it's
it's
The
for-
Shining.
It's for people who remember the 80s.
I've seen parents bring like 6-year-olds to this film.
Oh.
Like,
Wow.
like the Shining section, like.
Yeah.
The whole bit when she...
Okay,
It's
no,
just
so the
recording.
Shining section actually, I think, is one of the areas that it really does improve on the book. I can't remember what film it is in the book, but like the second, I think it's still the second challenge.
There's Blade Runner is one of the.
No, it's not Blade Runner. It's
Looked
it's
up the synopsis today, so.
Oh.
no, it's there's a part of the book where they have to like quote for quote
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
a film.
Yeah.
Like they're one.
It's
It
The
might even
Breakfast
be
Club.
Ferris
That's
Bueller.
yeah.
It's either
Oh, it's
Ferris
one of
Bueller or
those.
The Breakfast Club. It's a John Hughes film.
Yeah, and
Whatever
like
it is.
you're the
Yeah.
main character in it. That's why I said Ferris Bueller rather than Breakfast Club, just because.
Oh, I think it is Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
You're right.
And they have to quote for quote like match the film all the way through, and they're like playing the character in the film,
forever.
and
in
it
the book.
it takes so long. And
Yeah.
when they kind of went into the Shining bit, I was just like, oh.
Well,
Like,
it reminded...
this is gonna be a long
It,
time.
it had the thing with the Casablanca rule, which is never show your characters watching Casablanca in your movie, because then you'd be like, oh, I could be watching Casablanca. When they walked into the big open
Yeah,
room, and
yeah.
I was like, man, The Shining's a much better film than this. I would like to watch this
that's
film.
This film was full of films like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I was watching Back to the Future.
Oh,
Yeah.
Iron Giant is better used
Yeah.
in some.
But that's the thing, with The Shining, it wasn't a case of, oh, let's just, like you say, literally watch a film that is better than this. It was kind of playing around in it, so it's going to mess up a lot of kids' expectations for The Shining.
Yeah.
They're going to
Yeah.
expect, like, zombie
zombies,
grandmas.
yeah.
But
Dancing
Giants
scene.
and...
beyond that, it was kind of like, oh, that's quite nice. You're not trying to, you're keeping VR and film separate as such. Like, you're not just watching
Inserting
a film.
yourself
Yeah.
into...
I liked that. That was the only bit that I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting on board. And then I was off board immediately, but that was alright.
But jumping back even earlier, literally to the start, I hated the car chase challenge because it was just like someone would have worked that out
Yeah.
already.
Yeah,
This
but
is-
it's
this gets
Very
in-
hard.
years.
No
Yeah,
Bloodborne
like-
players there.
Oh.
Yeah,
It
I was gonna-
also doesn't like it does what this film doesn't do well enough that the book kind of just about does, because it keeps telling you every few pages, so that the film doesn't really make it clear that it's more than just the 5 of them that have got the keys. At this
Yeah.
point, it kind of keeps track of like hundreds of thousands of people and that only really comes into it when they're at the 3rd challenge and there's just the queue of people waiting to go on the Atari, and you're just like, oh, okay, what? It's just, yeah. But I didn't like the first challenge just because it was like the clue for it was simple.
Yep.
And it was just really boringly cinematic.
Would I mean, I think my overall thing that actually would have been my one-line hot take if I hadn't wanted to be cantankerous would be a lot of people in the VFX department worked really, really hard to make something that is completely empty. Like, I felt nothing when I watched this film. It reminded me somewhat of, and I know Jim's going to roll his eyes a little, it reminded me of Jumanji, of just how bored and
Which one?
empty I felt. Jumanji that we watched on the show,
Okay,
referencing
cool.
the episode.
Yeah.
The thing was, I was watching this, and like I watch a lot of speedruns, and like, you know, games done quickly where people show crazy exploits that they've figured out, and there is, like you say, there is no way that after 5 years, with these frankly quite easy challenges, if the entire population of Columbus, Ohio, is working on it, they would have figured it out.
Yeah.
It just felt ridiculous. It just none of this felt believable.
I suppose what they will do with that is they will jump then to the end with Simon Pegg's character Og and kind of be like, he was disguising clues from like people who were unworthy and whatnot. But it was just kind of like, what has that kid done to show that he's worthy? And like, why could he have not just like given him a
That's just
few
cheating.
more hints? It's just, yeah. But
And does that mean that he's just in the game all the time?
it was
Because like presumably anyone can go to the archives at any point because the Oasis is always online.
But like,
But everyone's always online, so.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
but he was the curator guy.
Yeah.
So is he always there?
maybe
Maybe
they
he
have
just-
hours, library hours.
It's lucky that
Maybe he jumps into that like maybe sometimes it's an AI and sometimes it's controlled by him.
It's also like that's what I dislike as well. That like they kept the idea of a safe haven with like these journals places, whereas in the book I kind of actually did prefer it because it shows how integral this thing has become to the world rather than just a game that everyone's got obsessed with. And it was the case of that like it was school planets that were
Oh yeah,
safe
so you
havens.
do all of your
So
education.
you go and yeah, it means everyone can have an education across the world, even though it might be a bit shit because they can just put this on and they can go to school. Nobody can like come and kill them on the school planets,
Yeah.
and it's to the extent that the first key is hidden on one of these planets. I think so. It's
That's
just
so
like,
much more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
They don't even mention the school. That's like the only part where you'd be like, oh, this is actually kind of a decent. There's
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
sides to this like a virtual reality thing. Whereas like in this movie, you're just kind of like, okay, everyone's just like
and that's
It's just
rejecting
fun.
reality. Who cares?
That's where the stakes are as well, because it's like when you're watching it and they show like all those kind of adverts pop up and everything that they want to do. If it's just a game, everyone will be like, "No, I'm
Yeah,
just-
fuck it, we won't
fuck
play
I
it.
don't want
Yeah,
to play with adverts all up in
exactly.
it." Whereas like it's integral to the world because it does education, it does loads of other things
That
as
makes
well.
that makes the
So it's
institution
kind
of
of
a
like-
class system actually make sense as a
Yeah.
credible threat rather than they're taking away my video games.
Whereas this,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
I want fun.
It's like YouTube. Like there, people found a way around ads.
Hmm.
There's now a class system with like YouTube Red, but it's like tiny
Yeah.
compared to like obviously this thing. But it's the same thing. People just don't give a shit.
Yeah. The thing, one of the things I found weird, which again, this may be a book thing that's different, is they were all like, oh, it's really bad if you die because you lose all of your stuff. And I'm like, cool, okay, that's fine, but you can clearly respawn. It's not like you get locked out of the game forever. H's character literally builds stuff. Like, so how on earth is it really that bad if you lose a load of shit if you can build the fucking Iron Giant? Like,
Does H ever die though?
no, but, well, H dies when the Iron Giant goes into the lava, I assume,
Yeah.
and so presumably she loses all of her stuff, which I guess she can just build again?
I think that's one of the problems with the film. I don't really remember it from the book, but like I think
I
that
don't think H builds things.
no, they don't, because like that's thing. One of the later challenges is where like if you win it, you get to pick like a giant armor suit kind of thing. So H picks the Iron Giant, Sorrento like picks Mecha Godzilla, and like loads of stuff like that. But like it's one of the things that's kind of problematic with the film, I think, in that sense, is that it doesn't establish its rules because it uses that
Yeah.
word.
It didn't feel-
respawn.
Yeah.
And it's just like it doesn't establish the difference between them just respawning in some random place or like set beginning place
Yeah.
from him having the extra life
It-
as such, and it was just
Again, the parallel again with Jumanji is that they had the life system which removes stakes because you're like, okay, I know that everyone's safe until they're down to one life, which made all the peril less perilous. Whereas this, I'm like, well, if they die, what happens? Like, they lose coins, but all of those, you saw people literally in the final conflict, like, running from station to station and just coming back. I'm like, this doesn't seem like...
that
Also,
was
like, if it's a game, people must die all the time.
Right? Yeah, we saw pitched battles and stuff where they were just...
Like he literally, oh, I'll go to the back of the race specifically because people are going to die and I can loot their coins.
Yeah, and it just felt like, does this matter? Does it not matter? Sean, give me some thoughts. Lay me down some knowledge truth on the internet superhighway.
I have sort of three main things. Two of them are nitpicks.
Okay.
So first nitpick is when Ben Mendelsohn turns up at the end with the gun.
Oh, is that Sorrento?
Yeah, Sorrento,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry. Yes, the whole thing, he pulls out the gun and everybody steps aside. My thing is, there's about 100 people there.
He's got 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6, maximum 12 rounds. It's not really going to do that much damage.
There was actually-
Yeah, but
It's-
everyone knows that
wasn't-
gun
wasn't-
beats person.
Yeah,
Like,
After 12
they
rounds.
part the crowd, and like behind him, everyone fucking jump on his back.
Yeah, just like
Well, wasn't the whole plan? There's like, we need to get to the stacks because we've told the stacks what he did, and they will protect us, and then they do nothing.
They don't give a fuck.
well, they come out and
It
stand
is
there and go,
Ohio. Somebody else in that place has a gun.
"Oh god!" I love it. He went, and someone's like, "Oh, bang!"
That's not a gun. This is a gun.
Also, I did like at the end how like curiously everyone in Ohio already had banners.
That was my second
Ready?
nitpick.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like, where?
Not just like the cardboard ones with the marker, but someone had like a full graffiti, like 12-foot long cloth thing.
And confetti as well.
but there was some
Yeah,
suggestion
when he
that
steps out the van, someone releases a ton of
if they were
confetti.
very specific, I'd kind of completely switched off by that point. But like, if they were very specific, fair enough. But it is kind of mentioned when they go to the nightclub that he has become a kind of celebrity.
Yeah,
as
but
such.
they don't
I
know
I
who
know
he
that.
is.
I'm not defending it. I'm just saying that maybe this is how
They
they
had
would
the whole
explain
thing,
it.
never say your real name in the fucking game, and so then the company knows, and Artemis knows, and that's it. But everyone's like, oh, it's that guy from the van, he's him!
He does a broadcast and he
He's
says,
like,
my
"My-
name is Wade, and
what?"
everyone gets
Yeah.
to the stacks.
But why do
They're
you
like-
have banners? They're like, no, yeah,
That's
no,
the thing, they also
oh.
have a banner for High Five, which is their nickname, which is
They
no one
announce-
ever says at any point
Apart
in
from
the film.
like right before they do the film, they're like, yeah, high five! And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, this fucking movie. Oh.
But my main thing is more than nitpick for me personally is representation of nerds in this film.
Oh, let's
Was-
burrow into this, shall we?
It's just I really hate, especially Hollywood's representations of nerds in film. To their like incredibly socially, or especially like with Halliday. Like he's
Which one's Helen?
The
Mark
Steve
Rylance.
Jobs man.
Willy Wonka.
Mark Rylance. Yeah.
Willy Wonka, thank you, Jim.
But Mark Rylance, who I just thought was absolutely terrible in this film. Like
What? I didn't mind him.
I like
really
Mark
hate-
Rylance.
I kind of want to know whether it was his decision or Spielberg was just like, no, you're not on the spectrum.
Yeah,
enough."
I think.
Just
Yeah,
because like
Yeah, I do
that
think that's
was
probably more
hard.
it
Spielberg.
was
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just yeah.
Whoever-
Yeah.
They had like never met a person with Asperger's when they were directing this dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how were they allowing that to happen?
Because like there was a point like when they're in a news conference where it's like, okay, he's kind of awkward, but he's got charisma because of the joke of like the headsets
Yeah.
under the seat. It's just like
Yeah.
figure out who.
I
has-
have a quick question.
Sorry, go on.
So I have a quick question actually about Halliday. He had this whole thing with like, oh, his greatest regret was just making you sign away your shares.
But his also greatest regret was never kissing the girl.
Yeah, I didn't feel like the girl regret, the fake regret, had been well established and was like a key, and they had like, you have to find it in this one specific memory, oh my god. And then he was like, actually, it was you, Simon
Oh, yeah,
Pegg.
no, they couldn't.
You were the thing I regretted most. I'm like,
I mean, everyone regrets
When?
Simon Pegg.
oh.
I'm joking. We love you.
Friend of the show, Simon Pegg.
No, so they couldn't play on that too much because then you have the whole kind of this is the thing that undoes this entire film of just leave your fucking shares to him then and let
Yeah,
him
oh.
go and do it. Like that's why they don't play on that because it is the what if the plane never crashed of Lost kind of shit. It's just like
I feel like I want to defend Lost and say that the
oh no, I
fucking-
love
the
Lost.
side- the-
Yeah.
the
It was a
side-
bad example. I was
Yeah, yeah.
grasping at something
Yeah,
quickly.
but just sorry, Sean. Please,
Yeah.
please continue. Just
Yeah, because it's. I've just.
For the listeners, Nick's got his face in his
I
hand.
just really
Nick.
hated this. Oh, it's gonna make money.
Carry on, Sean.
It's just something of like, I feel most of us compare ourselves as being quite nerdy at times.
No,
I think-
no.
No.
I'm chill.
I think Joe is probably the coolest person.
That's
Yeah.
pretty nerdy.
You're come on now.
Yeah.
But it's a thing. There's
She
different
said
ideas.
just immaculate terms like I'm just pretty nerdy. I don't know about you.
But it's the thing. There's different ideas of being nerdy. You can be cool, but still have nerdy inklings in you. You know. So like,
For the listeners, Joe just violently pointed across the
Yeah.
table.
I agree with the point.
Strong agreement.
Yeah, we're on
Don't hit the
opposite
table.
but yeah, there's something. There's different ways of being nerdy. It's not just you're a socially awkward idiot, and that makes you a nerd straight away. You know, there's different levels, and this film just makes it like, yeah, if you're a nerd, you're socially awkward, and you can't handle real life, and it's
Yeah.
just like that's not what nerds are.
Yeah,
Like, I am about half of that, but like.
I mean, that's because yes, that is true of the film, but at least, even though that's awful, it's still better than the book because the book not only does that, but also celebrates all of the most toxic elements of nerd culture, and a lot of that is omitted from the film. So now it's just kind of not great instead of awful.
I'm so numb. Racy.
Oh shit.
Yeah. You stayed awake. Now you have to talk about the film. It was a trap.
Like, I remember bits and pieces, but I can't remember in which order they happened.
I feel that's what everyone will say about this in a few
Yeah.
years' time. Just
Yeah.
Just darting from reference to reference,
I,
really.
Yeah.
and
like,
not really
I can
connecting
remember
anything.
Stacks being a game. Like, the actual, like, buildings on top of that's a game. That's a phone game.
Oh.
I played
Oh,
that.
that's a reference I didn't get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I presumed it was kind of vaguely Donkey Kong-esque, but okay. Just in
Maybe.
the sense that
Oh,
there are
yeah.
levels, and it's
Sure,
just
yeah.
like all like
The
just
ladders,
a
yeah.
platform game as well because of the way that he came from the top
But
to
like,
the bottom
yeah,
of it
like-
at the start.
Like my teacher says, she's like, "Oh, you're watching a good movie when you're not actually thinking about how it's made." I was like, "Oh, I can see everything. I can see their like fucking what are those black and white things that they wear around their waists and their heads and their wrists, and they move around the set and then they glue the CG onto them."
Motion capture suit.
Oh yeah, mocap.
Yeah. I was like,
Funny
I could.
I want to just say again, because I don't want this to be an overly negative podcast, I think it looked okay.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
Yeah, no,
Yeah?
it's the kind of
Yeah.
thing that they
Yeah.
integrated it well enough to not date it too quickly.
I
was kind
I
of,
don't
okay,
know.
okay. I was kind of concerned, having read the book, that I was just like, how are they going to do this? Because in the book, it is literally, they are just like, it is real life, and you're just like, there's too much in it, in like space and just everything to be able to do it like that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that, and it was kind of obviously animated.
But the problem with what they had such potential to do stuff that's like, whoa, like proper awe-inspiring stuff, and they had the budget clearly, but I never had like a heart moment where you're like, oh, that was a wicked piece. I mean, obviously you know it's CGI, but like, there's
Like a
no-
cool
like,
set
there's no
piece.
like gorgeous
Yeah.
like forests or like
Yeah.
epic sunset. You know, that's just. It's just
But
boring.
I also-
But
I
then I'm not a
also-
gamer, so.
No, well,
Even then.
as
No,
gamers,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it, you
It
know,
wasn't great.
no.
But like I also liked how like there was like I've said like too many times 2045, but it didn't seem too far off. Like it seemed like believable that the world could get to that point. I think I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that sort of
That's fair, yeah.
production design where they went, okay, we want to make this believably achievable, but also not super futuristic because we know we're never going to get to that point going forward from 2018.
That is how most people think of Birmingham and Tottenham. They have a slight helping hand there. It's kind of like vaguely futuristic in a dystopian sense, but also very, very stuck in the past.
Yeah. Oh boy. I have a question. In this again, this may be a thing that was explained in the book because it wasn't explained in the film. They have the bit where if you want to leave the game, you awkwardly grab your head and you just lift it off, and then you're gone, and you log out and you keep all your shit. When the guy's like, I'm setting off the cataclysm bomb, and Irock the assassin was like, I've got like 10 years of gear in there. He didn't think just go, whoop.
Because I think in that respect,
I think your character still counts as there. But
yeah.
Then, but then why would you take your helmet off like in H's workshop? Because then you'll just wake up in H's workshop, and that's a stranger as far as Artemis is concerned.
Yeah, there must be a place where you like enter into.
You re-enter wherever you left as such, and I think it's yeah.
But yeah, then you can still escape the cataclysm.
I
That
thought
way,
Yeah.
there
so
were
technically not
specific
there.
entry points in the book.
Oh.
It just they see again like the thing that I found is that
There are specific entry and exit points.
the structural integrity of the world felt really weak. Like they tried to have a lot of stuff in it, but they didn't really consider how that stuff meshed together. And it's like,
Halliday doesn't like rules. He's chill, man.
but it's like I find it ridiculous that it's like, oh, the only way to beat this one thing is to cheat. Effectively, to use, I was just like, that's the thing that gets Parsifal ahead, is that he literally cheats, which apparently only the 5 of them know how to do, even though there's literally an audience which watches him does. He's like, well, Artemis saw me go backwards. And then I told H. Then H told Daito, and Daito told Sho. And then you're like, but there was an audience.
That's what I mean in that respect with the race as well, is that, like, not only how did nobody guess the clues, and what I was saying earlier about as well, how it doesn't keep track of simply how many people are on the scoreboard, is that it doesn't really explain how many people are in the race, if people are watching the race, because how like often you can enter the race.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, if there's a race literally every few minutes, then a lot of people would be straight into it, and it just doesn't.
Yeah.
explain-
Allegedly, Artemis does Twitch streams, so presumably there's streamer culture, which means people are watching people doing the race, which means they'd be able to see how the race is done. Anyway. Okay, this has been a long cast already. Holy shit.
How does Daito know karate in real life?
Well, maybe he does. I was like, I mean, he's Asian. That's visual shorthand. He probably knows kung fu. Hey. And then he killed that lady, like full on.
Yeah. Well,
She's-
She was fine.
No,
in
she.
it.
I mean,
It's cool.
like she looked. That was a nasty
it was
bump she took. I was
horrific.
like,
I want to know what the stunt girl did for that.
She
Like,
literally looked like she
Yeah.
landed on her head, and I was like, ooh.
no, I physically felt the bump on her back when she landed. I was like, oh my god.
Just like, well, you might have trouble walking for a
I
bit.
mean, you could see the wires in it as well, though. Like, not in a
I-
Thunderbird
I
sense, but in a movement sense. She was just like,
Yeah, but
All right.
I like to fully immerse myself.
Yeah.
Put the headgear on, gloves, everything.
Mm.
I think it is possibly as well, on a different note, one of our subtly worst audiences.
Oh, the
being
guy
as
behind
well.
us
Oh,
who
God.
was just like, I'm gonna rustle this.
Oh no!
For
I
about
don't even
10
mean in that
minutes.
sense. I don't mean like a talking. I don't mean a Justice League of where everyone else
be
in
fair,
the room was loving it. We were the bad
We were the
ones in
worst
Justice
people
League.
in Justice League
I
by a
know.
country mile.
But what I mean is, there were like about 5 people that throughout the film you could kind of slowly but surely use sonar to navigate and like locate them in the audience, because every time they got a reference, they were like, ha ha ha.
It's supposed to be enjoyed. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, remember this thing?
But it was
But,
just
but it doesn't say anything about it. It doesn't, like, even though Spielberg is trying to take this thing that didn't really mean anything to begin with, and then he's trying really hard to make it mean something.
That's what
but
I
he
mean,
still
though.
kind of fails.
It was just it wasn't real laughter because it wasn't doing anything funny with it, as
Yeah.
you're saying, or anything clever with it. It was just
Nostalgic.
people wanting everyone else in the room to be like, I got that one, you fucking didn't. And it's just like, I think it would actually be interesting, like somebody that works in the cinema today was making a list of all the references that
Oh,
they
God.
spotted in it on a piece of paper. Piece of paper wasn't actually that long, which was worrying. But
There's a lot in there.
I think it would be interesting in a way to kind of reverse engineer that. And at some point, I want somebody to just like have like a Tumblr, because that's how hip I am. Oh,
I'm on Tumblr. You can
all of
find
the
this
things
podcast on my
that aren't
Tumblr.
referenced in it that kind of should have been, like the giant battle when they've got this giant spiders. I don't know if that's from something like the giant robot spiders. It's just like, oh, you didn't get the rights to the AT&Ts, did you? It was just, it's like, this is really obvious.
This-
as
well, I
well.
was
You're
like-
you're in a snowscape in
I-
a
I-
battle.
I was
Yeah,
thinking.
but he was wearing Han Solo's belt, which was weird to me.
Yeah, and they mentioned the Millennium Falcon,
Yeah.
but it's
That's
just
maybe as much as Disney would
Yeah.
allow.
Oh, two things. One, where the fuck was Mario? In a video game
That's
movie,
true.
they didn't have Super Mario crop and go,
They
it's
didn't
a
have any
me!
Nintendo stuff. Did
I
they?
know.
because
Yeah.
they stick to their own platform.
The Nintendo's like, nah, it's not
Yeah,
cool.
they did have one mention of it. She's like, oh, I'm not playing Mario Kart here while
Yeah.
she's driving.
Oh,
the
yeah,
van."
true, yeah.
But
The-
that's the only mention I
One
can
of the
recall.
plot hole, and I'll stop mentioning the plots because there's a lot
There's
of
many.
There's the whole bit where Sorrento's like, we can give you anything you want. We've got the Millennium Falcon. We've got all the guns. We've got all of the resources. We're a massive company that has a dedicated player base that apparently ranks in the hundreds, if not thousands of people. We have all of the cool shit. How were they losing the war when they have all of the cool shit?
Yeah,
Where
it's-
was all the cool... Where was the Millennium Falcon?
They don't know Halliday.
Oh.
Just like this
No, but like
fucking
But
white schmuck guy.
the one
who's
woman
just-
in the kind of like focus group clearly did, and I think it
Yeah.
would have been interesting in that respect as well, because like she clearly knew more than she let on, but
Oh, the ginger lady.
Yeah,
Who told them how to solve the puzzle and then no one listened.
Yeah.
No, but that's the thing. She doesn't tell them how to solve the puzzle. She tells them which game to play, and then after they've lost, and when he's playing it, she's just like, "Oh yeah, it's because you do this." So explore the plot of her disguising it from them.
Actually, she starts to tell them it's the first game where the designer put in an
Yeah,
Easter,
yeah, yeah.
and then they speak over it. I'm like, she just told you the end of how to win.
Yeah, and you'd think the movie's smart enough to be like, this is how women are treated in a workplace environment, but it's not that smart.
She's
So
really
it's
happy
like-
and she kisses that fat guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
women do when they're happy.
Terrible.
You
You
kiss the
get a
nearest
forced
fat guy.
romantic subplot. You get a forced romantic subplot, everyone.
All right, because this is careening out of control, I'm now going to drag us to final thoughts. Joe, as the other guest, you get to begin final thoughts, such as your privilege. That means you can just give a final summation of what you think of the film. It dovetails into the one-line hot take into your final thoughts.
One-liner?
Yeah, you can be one line or just like a short thing.
I probably won't watch it again. Because I don't. You know.
That's a perfectly acceptable final thought.
Thank you.
Racy.
As a final thought, I don't want to think about it anymore.
Fair. Do you
Yeah.
want to take off the headset and go back to reality?
Over
wish.
goes gravity.
EJ.
I didn't think I could regret something more than reading the book.
Oh.
Here we
You're
are.
Damn! That is. Given how bad the book sounds,
The
like.
book is fucking terrible, but it wasn't this movie.
I love how at the time, though, you've said it now, like, why did I recommend the book to you? At the time, you were just like, yeah, it's good.
I didn't want to insult you.
Why have you ever not wanted to insult more? Come on, look at him.
No,
Lovely hamster face.
nobody ever wants to insult me for real because they know I will cry.
Behind that stern demeanour is just like a heart of fragile glass. What are your final thoughts, Morton?
So I have two.
Go.
Both
Are
equally
puns?
sincere.
Okay.
None are puns.
Oh, wow.
None are puns.
What a change.
So one would be because like we've taken too long, so we can't actually talk about this now. Is that just like in the film, this is going to be tagged on at the end. There was potential for a serious debate of just giving up the video game,
Yep.
and it's not there. It's kind of vaguely there. Like there's shots of people fighting in the street with the headsets on. There's the whole. The only real thing is reality. I know I said that the wrong way around.
Yeah.
But it's just like that should have been the heart of the film, that it was used to oppress them rather than...
To keep the masses in line,
Yeah.
or keeping them slaved to...
It wants its cake and eat it, because it's like, oh yes, I finally decided to give up the video game, but only after I had won it more than
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
could possibly win it.
And I got the girl!
But-
Look at her on my wheelie chair!
But my final thought,
Yeah.
just watch Scott Pilgrim instead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, imagine, question. What if Edgar Wright had made Ready Player One?
You can't fix that story. Like,
That's accurate.
It's flawed at the core. Even though Spielberg addressed a lot of the complaints and
Yeah.
made a film that was out of a book that is made a film that was okay. It still has that fundamental problem that it's trying to do both things. Like if you want to watch a good story about video games or game culture, watch Scott Pilgrim, watch Tron. If you want to watch a film about someone who has to learn to not to root their life and their obsession anymore, watch Little Voice. Those are better.
Or watch Don John.
I don't know that film. I'll just say yes.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt having a pornography obsession.
There you
It's
go.
fucking great.
It doesn't
Write
omit
that
the
down.
15-minute masturbation
It
paragraph.
really, it's a lot.
Well, I would accept a masturbation paragraph if it's got something interesting to say about
Exactly.
it. That's the thing. Like Ready Player One, the book, and the film to a lesser extent, but still, is just trying to say something about everything and ends up saying nothing. And
Do you want to count that as your final thoughts?
my final thought was just going to be it's okay, and that's as good as it could have been.
That's damning.
So it's
If
still
you
its
really
potential.
like this film, you deserve to only watch this film until you realise
Oh.
the error of your ways, because that's what it is.
Oh,
I want to see the DVD sales now.
To be fair, I will be buying it on DVD just to see if we are in the extras.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Heard You Saw on-set exclusive.
We met your boy Steven Spielberg. Who hasn't done Final Fantasy? Sean.
Yeah. Nick was not there.
I was there in spirit.
It's true.
I do remember watching the trailer for this, like the very first trailer, and just being very excited just because of how insane it looked, and that was that sort of hope I had, was that I didn't have high hopes in it being a good film, but I just wanted it to be insane to look at.
Kind of like your Pacific Rim experience.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I wanted that sort of Pacific Rim experience for this film, and didn't get out all incredibly bored while watching it. But
I stayed awake, so...
yeah.
It's so boring that it stupefies your mind, so not even your dreams can save you. Race, have you done your final thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll close out. I expected to hate this film. I do hate this film. Now, that might sound like I went in with some preconceptions, but I even said to Morton that I was really going to try not to hate it immediately before we went in. I was like, I think I'm going to hate it, but I'm going to really give it a go.
And I listened when you said
You did, yeah. And my opinions matter. But it's just empty. It's just really fucking sad that this is what gamer, air quote, culture feels is, well, or at least a permutation of it feels is the relevant and important stuff, is how much shit you have, how good you are at a video game.
That's how much you know.
Yeah.
The whole sort of
Gatekeeping about, like, oh, I know everything about fucking Halliday. I know what he had for breakfast in 1983. Wasn't born then. Also, I will say, my final thought, boy, it seems optimistic that you think Overwatch will still be culturally relevant in, like, 25 fucking years. Blizzard, you bunch of hacks.